Now, there are, of course, biases when we study ourselves, which is why it's not enough to just study the self. It's important to counter it, to add to it academic work, studying others. And that's why we will do some research or study research as well as do some searching inside us. Both are important. We shouldn't, just because there are biases and mistakes that are potentially can be made, it doesn't mean we need to throw out the baby with the bathwater and stop studying ourselves. So we'll do that, or rather you will do that, probably more than in any other class on campus. Finally, this may be news to you, but this is not English 10A or Math 55. Meaning you will not have to read as much as you would read for 10A or for a history class, and this class is not as difficult as Math 55. So you can rest assured, though I'm sure there are some people here who took the class. This class, at the same time, is about rigorous fun. Fun because it's fun to study ourselves. Sometimes it hurts, and sometimes we see things that we may not like, but overall, it's fun, it's interesting. And at the same time, it's rigorous, based on research. Now, many of the ideas that you will encounter in this class are very simple, very accessible, common sense. However, they're simple, not simplistic. And here is the difference. Here is the difference. See, Oliver Wendell Holmes, at least this quote is attributed to him, not 100% sure it's his, said, "I would not give a fig for the simplicity on this side of complexity, but I would give my life for the simplicity on the other side of complexity." What Holmes means here is that he doesn't care about just simplicity, easy, off-the-cuff, whimsical ideas. What he does care about, though, is the simplicity that comes after we have chewed the idea, after we have digested it, after we have thought about it. Ideas that have been worked on. And if on the other side of complexity we can reach simplicity and common sense, that's great. That's what he's interested in. That is also what positive psychologists, researchers, whom we'll discuss throughout the semester, are interested in. The simplicity on the other side of complexity. And there's a very big difference between these two kinds of simplicities, even though, on the face of it, they may, at times, look similar. What this class requires is a very different kind of effort, a very different kind of effort to other classes. Again, it doesn't require the kind of effort that you would need in 55 or in English 10A. The kind of effort that it does require is the effort of application, of applying it to your lives, of introducing behavioral, actual change to your life. And before we go into some of the technicalities of the class, such as the syllabus, I want to end with a story about Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker, whom I quoted earlier, father of the study of management in modern times. Peter Drucker lived to the grand old age of 94, passed away just a couple of years ago, and toward the end of his life, while he was still 100% lucid, it was more difficult for him to be mobile and to go into organizations. So what he did was invite people who wanted consulting from him, wanted to learn from him, would come to his home. And he had presidents and prime ministers of countries, he had CEOs of Fortune 500 companies come and spend the weekend with him. And on Friday, this is how we would start every session with every world leader. Whether in business, whether in non-for-profit, whether in politics. He would say to them the following: on Monday, I don't want you to call me up and tell me how wonderful it was, meaning how wonderful the weekend was. On Monday, I want you to call me up and tell me what you're doing differently. At the end of the semester, or at the end of a lecture, if you enjoyed it, by all means, tell me that you enjoyed it, that it was fun, but more important, it is what you're doing differently. how this has an impact of your life, and that takes effort. We're going to spend a whole week talking just about change, nothing directly related to positive psychology, just about change, because it is so difficult to change, because we know that most organizational change fails, because we know that most individual change fails, unless we introduce behavioral change along with our cognitive and emotional change. Affect and cognition is not enough. Behavior has to be there as well. What are you doing differently? Now, to do things differently very often takes courage. Some of your response papers that you will hand in are, none of them are graded. They're all just graded pass, fail. You have to hand them in and then you pass. But some of them will be maybe the most difficult papers that you have written here. For some, they'll be the easiest and things will just flow out. That's about introducing change. That's about reflecting. That's about taking time in. That's about chipping away the excess stone. And it can only be done through this kind of effort. So if you really want to make this class to make a difference in your life, it's up to you. I'm going to introduce you to the material. I'm going to introduce you to this wonderful new field of positive psychology. What is up to you is to then take it and apply it.